Yo, what's up guys? It's Chantelope here, and unlike the last bar video where you saw my live gameplay, I wanted to break down a game. I played a couple games after that last one. It's on a map called Esker Creek. Pretty cool map, looks like it could be up to 8v8. It was a 4v4, a small team. Let's see. I wanted to show this one mainly just because even though I didn't do anything in particular that was a game winner, so to speak, I played front and I held it, which is important, as you will see. And I wanted to show you some of the thought processes I made when I realized I made some plays that weren't too optimal, could have been better. I tried to correct them. So, anyways, on my team, we're going to have Skip McGee going into some Cortex, it looks like vehicles. We're going to have Hex Skull going into some Armada bots. And if I'm not mistaken, Hex Skull actually called out that he was going to go air. He did, and he actually did a pretty good job. Usually in small team games, air can be a risk, especially if the other team is aggressive and air doesn't respond well, or if they just don't get much value. But this guy did pretty good, so we'll try to keep an eye on him. And then at the top we have Seaman77, one Chevron player that actually also did pretty well. I would say closed the game out for us. Definitely beat his lane opponent soundly. On the other team, we have Uraniums, who is going to be his lane opponent. No spoiler there. I'm curious to see what happened between the two of them. In orange, we have Tox going into some Armada bots. This guy skirmished with me quite a good bit, so I'm excited to show that off. In yellow, we have another B who's going into armed vehicles. Now, I'm going to pause right here. I know that, even though we'll see it later, yellow took up a good position here, really causing for a light blue and me to not be able to advance at all, so that was good on him. I will point it out when we get there, though. And then finally, as our pink commander here, we're going to have Cortex Bots is going to be Llama Potato. If you look, I've got some early rascals going through, trying to get some value. Looks like some early rovers came through also from the enemy team. I sent out, sent out 5, just trying to find out where things were. I don't think I found too much value out of them, if I'm being honest. Down here, this one's going to get taken out with ease by the look of it. Yep. Over here we have this one acknowledging Tox is there, and then moving on, trying to get some, see if anyone spawned in the back, which none of them did. Smart on their part. This guy is going to be going up and around, probably misread. In my back line, I've thrown down 3 solars. I was stalled a little bit for as far as my advancing goes, my scaling. I tried to get down a con turret as soon as possible. I knew that I would have a lot of metal income if I had the units to hold the area, so I wanted to make sure I had the build power up in the base. Threw out some incisors. Now this guy did end up killing a mech that was very close to being online. I didn't realize how close, so we're cool with that. These guys go through trying to find some value on red, but I think red had spotted me. Little citizen's arrest here. I think I noticed it and move them, yeah. So those get knocked out, and this guy tries to find more value down here. I think I went up. I think I could have gone down and found the value I was looking for, but instead I tried to go up. Thinking that for sure pink would have seen me by now through yellow and would have put an LLT or something here. Turns out he didn't, so next time I gotta go with my first thought, not my second. I have some incisors moving across the map. It looks like their team has done a much better job at moving up and actually starting to build up here. We've got the vehicle con and his commander moving up to get mexes. I've just started to move my comm up to get mexes. I had him throw down an energy storage, and because I went so heavily into solars, and then I started using my con to reclaim the trees, which, if we look there, there's quite a lot of reclaim to be had. Pink actually gets a little run by here. I hadn't noticed it. I think pink probably frustrated my light blue teammate a lot through the game. My light blue teammate played very well. It's interesting he started that geo and then ended it. Maybe he goes back to it, I'm not sure. Let's find out. So he cleaned it up, but I had started to move my units back. At this point, we've got plenty of blitzes here. I think my radar does spot it, and so I'm able to try and group my forces together and then mount a proper response. From my point of view, this is what I see, so I'm thinking that pink was either through and there's nothing I can do about it really, or cleaned up. I moved my incisors over here. I tried to move as many of them to fight one at a time as possible, just because as far as damage goes, that's the optimum way. Got a D-gun off there, and continued to try and knock this guy out. He got a lot further than I had originally planned. You see pink has sent some more aggression. So I moved a con over here, try to get a radar up. My goal was to slowly start moving my way down here and getting those mexes after it was stable and after I had enough units. We'll look at the full screen though and try to get a better picture of this. Lots of grunts. My incisors are slightly stronger than, you know, grunt for grunt, incisor for sizer. Decided to move this guy over here and try to get the radar so I could see if pink tried to go through here. And if we look right here, we see yellow is already setting up LOTs. He's fully expanded, so is orange and red too. I haven't even got that far. Since we had an air player, my air player really didn't, I knew he wouldn't be able to expand forward and hold ground. You know, building static as an air player, he doesn't really have the energy for that if he's going to go into air. So I thought to myself, hold on. From my point of view, I was like, okay, so, which interesting, yellow actually drew a line here. Hold on. So I thought to myself, purple doesn't have anything really going for him here. I've got vision, this radar and this radar, so I should be able to hold down from that big rock to this big rock. And that's what I attempted to do. Anywho. Looking up at the top side, it looks like red has roughly about 15 grunts moving forward towards C-Man. C-Man having some LLT set up, some build power, a lot of res bots. Still clocking out 27 metal per second, which, if I'm not mistaken, is much better than I am, so good for him. Got his radar up and spotted all of these guys. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, he probably saw that and I was like, okay, time to, oh, he's not producing any units. Uh-oh. He'll probably get there. Now, orange had the opportunity to either go up this way or go down this way. He decided to scout a little bit with some units. My radar was able to spot those around the beach, and also my units were able to move into position. Pink holds this forward area from the majority of the early game, with yellow getting a very early gauntlet but a very useless gauntlet up. What it does do is it means I can't grab really 4 of those mexes. So honestly, if you wanted to push it, 5. So it's good for that. It also discourages any aggressive pushes. I've started moving into some heavy tank production, trying to get some light static across the field. Seeing this guy had bots. That's an interesting little makeup. HLT on the hill, again, really doesn't shut down anything, mainly just protects his area there. So there's that gauntlet, slowly shelling away. And I found out very quickly that that was not going to be mine anymore. My tanks moved down here to try and help out. He's got a whole bunch of pounders. He's just moved into some artillery. Me, I went for more of a brawly kind of style. I didn't think they'd really have anything other than rocket bots that would be able to outrange us, knowing that these guys are currently playing bots. Yellow, throughout the whole game, did manage to field a lot of Janus to a good bit of effect, so I'm excited to show that off too. And this guy has moved into a beamer. What am I doing right now though? So orange decided to go up and do a little run by. I do have 2 twin guards up. If I'm not mistaken, I noticed that and tried to move my troops to engage that. That was a little bit panicky for me. The LLT will also put in a little work, but they do manage to get this mex, and my forces move in to engage. While this is happening, my comm is over here trying to help him hold a little bit. I move up for some D-guns. Decide to myself, you know, you want to get too aggressive, you're going to lose all those units. And orange then moves back to try and attack green. Green right now is a little clumped up ball of rockets. Not really attacking anything, but has a presence. He moves them backwards to try to deal with this. I don't know why he gave me a stork. I remember him doing that. I don't remember why he did that, but throwing down some advanced solars. My energy right now is at plus 400 per second, which could be a lot better. You see they very smartly broke off to these grunts. Good job from them. I was over here trying to repair some of these mexes I'd lost and was still down here trying to hold. Pounder force moving in to engage. They actually would have a really winning chance here if they were to attack there, but obviously there's no great way for him to know that. I moved for some Wolverines to try and pressure what I assumed was a very heavily porked area here. Turns out that he went for a lot of units, which is bad against my Wolverines, but we'll get there when we get there. Also had some missile trucks. Noticed that was good on metal but not power, so I tried to throw some down. I felt bad about that, but air did have a response for it eventually, and I was moving in to cut that advance off. With that time, he's pumped out 10 maces, 3 rocket bots, and some grunts. Looking at his economy, it's actually really solid. Red actually went for a vehicle and a bot lab, which I think is pretty swell. Went for anti-spam units in the form of pounders, but you know, the enemy could always stop making spam and start making duelists, so never a great idea. They have very specific uses, is what I'm getting at. Blue putting up a wall there. My Wolverine is trying to find what value they can. My tank's moving forward to try and engage this purple force, which is astounding, actually. Quite the force there from pink. Not purple, excuse me on that. This gauntlet set to repeat fire there. They're actually using his walls against him. My tanks didn't have a great way. I'm going to pause real quick. My tanks really didn't have a great way to get in here and engage with these walls, so my thought process was I will hold a line, if I can draw, here, and kind of just force them back from my setup here, from my jammer, from my other jammer. Just try and hold them back from whatever I do have built. This twin guard, I believe, puts in a good bit of work. I'm going to watch this as we resume. Very good against those grunts, and of course he has his pounders too, which do decent damage against the thugs. Now we love this because our air player is not being idle. Our air player has come in with quite a lot of bombs for the 10-minute mark. Quite a lot of bombers. Some great pressure. And light blue and I believe we tried to capitalize on this and push. We do have another push through by orange. With green moving with his commander to respond to it. I'm not sure what happens with that. My heavy tanks and incisors move through. His pounders falling behind, and pink is able to get his commander back to safety, where a ball of Janus are going to certainly cause us some problems. Lots of air defense. That's totally a me move. These units stopped, which I don't like. Those units could have got a lot more value. Looking at that timing, I had no army to really stop it. Green was out of position. He could have gone through and dealt some damage to purple, who now is left with only a couple fighters. A couple bombers, I suppose. Now the Janus don't engage us there. Some actually cut off and go back when they see that all is lost at that position, so they move back to their safe front, which yellow has established, and I try to push through, but these Janus actually put in a lot of work, if I remember correctly. Also that line of, I realize here I come back, see my name there, I'm like, oh crap, I'm kind of surrounded. The pounders are moving in now to try and deal some damage back to them, but they're very slow, so actually push in again. I didn't remember that. I know that he moved his artillery and range to the hill, so I thought I would do the same, so I'm a copycat for that. Good stuff, Skip McGee. Now this is important to bring up. While this gauntlet is great, or while the gauntlet / agitator are great, you have to be, sometimes when you get such a military victory, you know, and you gain this much ground, sorry, I'll try and draw it out, this much ground, you know, like we were holding a line here, and then with that play, we were able to push up, and now we hold here. the gauntlet or agitator would be much better over here, but he didn't really know that. He assumed that we would still just be holding, especially after the week early. I think his mindset was, alright, I need to get something up now. You know, I'm not overly worried about the position. But the units did such a good job of actually pushing them back that if this guy, obviously he had a build turret, he had a plan for this, but I'm not sure even at that time, even with the wall, that it was the best plan, just because they could simply go around with a mountain in between them, covering a lot of that fire. Though, good job to Blue again for walling this off, and 2 twin guards. Like, it's not that Light Blue did anything wrong, he's actually doing very well. But it's just one of those things where, building the agitator, if you see that there's a better spot to do it up forward, you may as well just eat it, and then use that 10, 15, 20 seconds to move down, and then that extra minute or so with your build power to reestablish it here. It could have applied a lot of pressure, but I make that mistake all the time. I actually made it in this game. Let's see if I've started it yet. I start one here, and my thought process was, okay, this will give me some more pressure to stop any orange leaks, but we'll look and see how that goes throughout the game. So just know I'm not being critical of him in particular, more so just being mindful of my mistakes and what we all could be doing better. Now see here, it actually, oh, he just knew that there were mexes there, I suppose. A lot of tanks dead. I tried to pull mine back when I saw that many dying. Yellow's still producing Genesis, and it looks like thugs are the weapon of choice for pink, who has started a wind farm. Looks like yellow has already scaled it pretty decently with a lot of T1 anti-air and a ball, which I'm sure will be great for them. Now they have so much metal. They have gone into T2 finally, and they even have the energy to produce it. So all things considered, yellow has really done their part here. They even moved forward to support pink when we 3v1'd him, so this is by no means any kind of bad-mouthing of pink. If anything, it's praises to the enemy team, especially my opponents. Now right here we see a gauntlet, which is the Armada version of an agitator on the high ground, which is a great place to put it. It will deny this, it will deny this, it will deny this, if I could stop trying to talk, in game, and then it could even hit this. So, pretty solid gauntlet, and stops a lot of any opportunity I have to be aggressive. Now I had put down this jammer, and I think I'll put one down over here too eventually. See, we started this agitator, and not much to come from it. In the backline, we've tried to get some more energy because we realized we were stalling. Try to get some more build power on top of that. I'm only at 600 energy per second, where if you look at yellow is at actually also around 600 per second. Kind of fluctuating better than mine though, but curious about blue. My blue is at 800, doing very well for himself. A lot of my teammates actually look like they were outscaling me, so that's pretty cool. Let's look back at this guy. He has sent forward his T2 con to claim. Looks like he's lost his front for the most part. Gunslinger moved in, an early T2 unit, especially when it's most useful or has the most potential to be useful. Something that heals itself, has a lot of HP, really is just in a class of its own comparatively to T1 units. That's a lot of pounders to stop it though. I don't know. I'm not sure he's microing it. It'll fall, but still, I like the idea of getting early T2 on the field and using it. He's sending another one. If you got a big enough ball of them, that could be very, very strong. Down here, as you can see, he actually did go for a gauntlet here, which is honestly a great gauntlet. So, look at him go. He's making good decisions. And this wasn't a bad decision, it was just as the game developed, it turned into being a waste of metal, and mine will too. As we will see, it is now built, and the idea of it is to stop this area. We'll find this rocket bot, but I think that might be the only thing it finds this game. I started building some armed metal extractors too to try and stop any run-bys. Speaking of run-by, we have 8 tanks from a fully transitioned T1 tank rush from Armada. I thought to myself, okay, so I'm going to lose some of my middle ground. We love this bomber. We love our air player. I didn't honestly have an overwhelming advantage against this guy. If he had made a couple more tanks, then he could have, I guess I had a 6 advantage over him. But honestly, if he would have tried to bait me back and had me fight in range of this gauntlet, which as you see I am now in, even if he were to move these, but I believe he does move these forward pretty soon. Nice little force of lashers and pounders over there. My artillery is still on this hill. I tried to wall this off and put an HLT, knowing that this guy went bots. Now look at this Janus ball. That's a crazy Janus ball. That is 23 Janus. This guy does eventually start to move forward to attack me, and the gauntlet is able to connect with my tank by the look of it, so this is actually a pretty winning fight from him. The only bad part is that the maces joined the fight so late. If the maces were there to deal damage while the tanks were, you know, tanking and also dealing damage, then it could have been a huge advantage for him, and I did lose quite a few tanks in that. Not as many as this guy was hoping, though, I don't think. I've now ate my T1 lab, and I'm going into a T2. Also a second T1 energy storage, which I think is interesting, to say the least. We're trading over here. They had a gauntlet built, and is actually dead. This guy doubled gauntlet, and double gauntleted, I suppose is how you'd say that, and has seen a lot of success from it. So look at me go. Me over here trying to justify what I'm saying, but this guy knew what I was saying too. Look at him go. They'll continue to find value if they want to, if the enemy wants to try and hold this spot, or they'll force a fight out of the enemy, which they will very shortly. So my commander's trying to eat up as much of this wreckage as I can, because as you know, I just had a T2 lab built, and I decided to put a Tsar on the field as my first unit. Can't really go wrong with the Tsar. A lot of HP. It is a little slow. As you see, he's just rolling out of the lab there. But, you know, who doesn't love a good Tsar? So, did that. I believe afterwards I eventually get some T2 cons going. Yes, I do. His commander's up here with mine. I notice it, and then I'm like, okay, I need to move my troops forward. A couple of Centurion came out of nowhere. Does he have a... He went T2 bots. Interesting. Red going into T2 vehicles. It looks like with a hound push, he's actually able to shut down this Tsar. Unfortunate for the red commander, honestly. He had a lot of time to push through, and second T2 came out reliably, which green is now doing with a fusion online, as well as tick spam. Just spamming hounds. You know, I think hounds could have died here from enough of these tanks just running straight towards them. Instead, they're going to be able to wolf pack it forward. Now, his commander does get out. I was wondering. I knew he was really low from that fight. He was at around 8, 9, 10% HP. Down here, it looks like all the Janus have backed up there now to an astounding number of Janus. I'm surprised no jammers have come up to try and block this. Looks like the medium saying, hey, look, my HLT is going to get to do something. My favorite. Won't get the kill, but hey, it will get some experience for its poor existence of being alive. A couple kills from my guys. Janus might be moving forward here. My Tsar has hit the field and has 1 kill. The same amount as this agitator I threw up. That needs to go. Don't worry, I keep bringing it up because I do end up reclaiming it eventually, but let's go back to player view and look real quick before we get into the juicy stuff, because I know it's about to hit the height of action. Now that my Tsar is on the field and I'm starting to get some energy up, and did I even upgrade? Yeah, and upgrade my mexes. If we look back here at purple, he's got plenty of build power, he's got plenty of gunships. I know he has some bombers and some exciting bombers on the way. Now green, with a total of 12 build turrets, is going for an Aphis. Pretty solid. He has a lead as far as like territory goes. He now has the enemy pushed out this far. And if we look here, there's really not much to stop a run by, like a collapse. If they wanted to stop attacking red and push this way, I don't have the units to really back it up though, but there's a lot of possibility that happens when you break through on your lane opponent, as I'm sure you know. I don't really have to explain. But back to player view, what I'm knowing now is that I have a Tsar. I really hurt the enemy's commander, so I know I won't see him for a while, so this guy's out of the game. His line is there. He still has the gauntlet? He still has a gauntlet, which I think I was aware of. Hello. There we go. I know that yellow is porked up here. I know this because, as I said earlier, he's denying 3 of the 4. I thought he was going to be 4. But the Janus are now on screen, and I believe I noticed this here shortly. So with T2 fully up for me, I'm curious to see about the enemy team. Are they starting full T2 production? No, they're just spamming Janus and upgrading mexes, so I can't be too mad. This guy is going to go into mammoths, which I remember were not fun for me at all. So that'll be fun to look at. Let's keep it going and keep an eye on what's happening. We're going to go from player view again. As you see, light blue is pinging the absolute terrifying amount of Januses with their little twin rocket salvos. They charge up and fire. Look at those Wolverines getting blasted apart. With no front line, it's hard. I see that and move my Tsar to try and help out, try and alleviate some of the damage. This guy's Tremor is very nice, that he was able to field. A great gunship respawn from our air player. Now Green's Hounds have actually all died. It's important to note that the Hounds only have well, he still has a pack, I guess. But even these welders have a hard time against a Tiger mixed in with some T1 tanks. Orange has decided to go for another push. We see here he's got mostly T1 units, so despite the fact that all of my troops have moved down to try and help deal with this, my Tsar included, where's he at? He actually turned around to try and deal with this. Interesting. I think I just kind of gave up on this position. I was like, whatever. My Tsar down here really shutting down any aggression from these tanks. These units deciding not to go with the Tsar, which I find very interesting. Orange probably really wasn't properly using his units. Tremor still firing away into the distance. They were able to kill our radar, so now we have no vision of what's happening over here. It looks as though Green has made a plan to push through. If we take a little sneak peek here, Wasps are going to be the answer. I think the second he stopped making tanks is the reason that he lost, in my opinion. Still T1 production. Yellow's Janus Force is coming back in, so we're going to go back to a player view. Light blue has a lot of Tigers and 1 gunship still alive. I was able to hold my lane here, and I've gone into Tiger production. Lots of Tiger production. Trying to go into my second, we call it fusion. Trying to get some Junos up, and also trying to get more Mexes up. As you see, this is actually, it's funny that it's now that it happened. I guess it was a couple of seconds ago, but I did notice that I was low on metal, so I said this 1 kill agitator could really be turned into literally anything else, and it decided to go. Let's watch this HLT try and put its work in. Kills one of them. I think our main hero here was Light Blue's Tigers for holding so long. I've got my own Tigers towards the front now, trying to stall these Janus. We love this HLT. I kind of want to watch him die, but... Now, he pings me for help, but I tried not to take it as he was upset. This agitator actually gets some value, too, against these Janus, so... Maybe I'm tripping earlier about that one. Mine had to go, though. That's the important thing. Orange pushing through now with a ball of about 20 medium tanks. Have my Tsar and some Tigers towards the front, so... Good news is we will be able to clean it up. Build turret healing the Tsar. And this guy had asked me for help, but my units were really kind of forced to hold my lane. As I said earlier, from this mountain down to that one is kind of my lane, so I did need to help him. I really did. I needed to support as much as possible. But again, I'm just grateful that our air player was not just, saying he was going to play air and didn't know what he was doing. This guy had an air wall, had early bombers, has gunships, he's contributing to defense, shutdown plays, solid air player. Turn off player, we got repeat for Banishers and Tigers, pretty standard. Me, I believe I just went for straight Tiger spam. Trying to get some converters online now. I decided I wanted to take down any kind of radar this guy had. Looks like I should have aimed it towards this hill instead. The mammoths have hit the field, and I would like to watch their glory as they continue to push all of the push. Scorpion battery to put up there. Interesting enough, the air player is really not letting yellow have a good day there. Red has successfully repelled the enemy. He has not started reclaiming anything necessarily, but he's moved back up to his line. But the Razorback, he got one Aphis up, and then he had a Razorback. Like, he rushed Razorbacks, which is, honestly, I like it. Very strong. Like, what do you do against a Razorback that early? No one can be prepared for that. Got my armed exploiter trying its best there. My troops were moving up, but they had to fall back. Looks like yellow really would like a push there. Orange still trying to get through on me here. My twin guards doing their best, but mainly the Tigers and this bomber by the look of it. Maybe not. Those bombers. I also had started a T1 spam lab, trying to shut off some of that aggression from orange so I could help, because I heard blue's calls. Now some bulls getting up close and personal with that hero agitator. We are sad to see you go, buddy. As you see, all my forces are pulled. The Tsar does not have much left in it. It's been a hero for me. It's got 28 kills, but there's not much it can do. Green moving forward with tick spam, along with the Razorbacks and the Hounds. Blue moving up for a hero D-gun, which I hadn't even noticed in-game. Shout out Light Blue. Skips McGee putting on a great game. The tanks are here to try and help him. I think I see him moving forward at that point, and I'm like, alright, well, I should try and move my Tigers around him, but I wasn't able to. It was at this point that I felt really bad for this guy, because he was doing a great job trying to hold. I saw this lab, and I was like, alright, or this little setup for a spam lab, and I was like, I need to try and keep taking out these mammoths as much as possible. I saw orange trying to push up with 5 more medium tanks. Where's this guy T2 units at? He's got a gunslinger. If we move back, pink just has quite the steady flow of units. He is on a fusion. Some of his mexes are dead, but what can you do? That's where my other Juno was going. It was going towards yellow, and it found some value over here. Back to player view. I didn't know his comm was up that close. Now, I tried to build a bulwark here, and it was a very ballsy bulwark, honestly, because even though this guy was only pushing me with T1, my army, due to being over here, was really not able to help much. As you see, I actually pulled my army back, because I'm like, I'm sorry, dude, like, if I don't have my army, then this bulwark will mean nothing. I actually don't think the bulwark was the right choice here anyways. I thought the game was going to go on a lot longer than it was, mainly just because I was versing T1 from this guy, and I was scared. I was like, where's the T2 coming from? But as we see here, green is not going to allow that to happen. Now taking my words earlier about pushing in this way, and doing so with about a handful of 10 sharpshooters. So solid. Now these Janus are terrifying. I have to go to player view for this. That ball of about, let's say, 30 Janus gives up on attacking the spam labs, who are now up and operational, which I'm pretty sure is what saved them, along with the Tigers. But yellow coming this way to try and take me on has left my forces, my weakened forces from the last couple of battles, including my weakened Tsar, to try and hold them off. The Tsar goes down, and I've only got about 4 Tiger tanks really to try and deal with this. Bunched up Tiger tanks, which could have been avoided. The bulwark is up. I'm not sure if it actually does anything here, though. Oh, well, it gets 1 Janus. You go, bulwark. My comm was like, this is not going to happen. Absolutely not. Green's still up here putting in absolute work on this guy. My comm said, enough of the Janus horseplay, yellow. Another B doing a great job with these Janus and holding his line all game, but I was not about to let that happen. I was in the zone, D-gunning these Jani, and that takes care of that. I believe my attention then goes to green pushing, which they are. They actually go up against, let's see if he has big D-guns. He does not have big D guns. No. Seaman, quickly. There's one big D gun. I have some Tigers push in. Seaman was 0 HP, finally falls. But his push is not halted. His troops are still motivated. Interesting tremor from the red player. As we see, my Tigers are still trying their best to get whatever damage they can there. I actually did not help this guy in time, and I believe his spam labs will fall. And that's on me. I was over here building bulwarks and walls. What a goofball. Perhaps at this point I noticed. I was able to take out Orange's production. Look at that though, Orange is up on the hill with a solid amount of T1 static and some Fat Boys, which, you know what, Fat Boys are pretty much T2 static, in my eyes. Looks as though I did notice my neighbor had started to fall, so I redirected my troops again. Not that I had need to really redirect, but the reinforcements I decided to move. And I believe this is where our air player really shows his colors. That nuclear bomber right there, if anyone can see. Quite the menace. My forces trying to take out whatever we can. Light blue holding like an absolute champ. So many T1 solar though. So many. I would have ate some of them after I did eventually eat my T1 solar fund. I went 4 fusions this game, which is very off par, but whatever. Whatever. I wasn't sure we were going to win. I thought it would be harder against 2-3 opponents. Like I said, it wasn't really like that. Air was here to support us every which way. Let's watch this run by real quick. Boom, nuclear bomb. Truly amazing from the air player here. Cleaning up a couple of those mammoths, and we'll go back to top down. Green with spam and snipers pushed up. Looks like these bulls will find some value against the snipers though, if they can continue. Keyword, if they can continue. Orange is crumbled here, which is sad to see. It looks like Orange rebuilding a T1 lab up here. I mean, he's trying to get the build power while his energy's back on, which is good. Yellow responding with his own sharpshooter ball. Honestly, not a bad defensive effort here from the other players to try and help with red. Red pushing forward, I believe I noticed it pretty soon and I pointed it out, but spam labs of green are quite the spectacle. All 4 of them. All of these mexes being left alive means that the red player could have tried to build some static against the spam at least, let his teammates clean up the actual threat of Razorbacks, snipers, hounds, whatever. Yes, I see there that the comm's there. Green has pretty much already killed that guy, so glad that he will get the, oh, interesting, 2 labs. We love to see it. Now here we have the pink player holding this position again. My HLT lived, which we love to see. This bulwark will no longer see any action because orange is out of the game as far as aggression, so a little bit expensive on that one. This one a little more justified, though I think a better spot for it would have been up here, just in case he wanted to try and resurrect those. A beautiful nuclear explosion, but eradicators will clean that up eventually. Red commander goes down, trying to get the last value out of his commander, but as we see here, green is pushed through with an army of ticks and pawns and razorbacks, and the sharpshooters are just not going to be enough. Unfortunately, there's not enough anti-spam in this mix. There's 1 bull and a couple million Janus. Quite the metal storage here. This guy's got 60,000 metal storage in T1 storage, which I think is incredible. Looks like here pink finally decided, I decided to keep pushing my forces forward even if they died one by one, just because making sure that this guy can't reroute his units. I'm going to pause that real quick. Making sure that he can't reroute his units backwards to try and deal with that push is important. Keeping up the pressure so that way it's 2 different directions, what is important in my eyes. Although in reality, if you look at green, it's more like 4 different directions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyways. Those spawns are eventually cleaned up though, and there are some sharpshooters left over. Pink again moving his forces forward against us. 2 trimmers though. Truly beautimous. My Tiger's still trying to find what value they can. This bulwark will end up finding some T1 trash and some mammoths by the look of it. So there's that. I never got that up to an advanced geo. I don't think. So green found the metal storage over there. A whole bunch of res bots behind it. These Janus will love attacking these sharpshooters. It'll be their favorite. Green, I suppose, a little overextended. Still not finding any of those mixes, but it's okay because the surrender vote has been passed. Now, I agree that there's probably not much from the position they ended in that they could have done, but throughout the game there were a few things they could have done, right? So, if we look, our green player actually gets most of the rewards. I can't blame him. I mean, it's not a Titan. Bro went into Titan spam at the end. That's crazy. Commands a minute, 26. Actions per minute, 51. So green with a 3 aggression, very solid, but pink actually with a 4 aggression, being able to push us all the way back just to give everyone their props, because another thing is GG to everyone who played. It really was. But pink was able to push us back all the way to here-ish, so that was very solid from them. If it wasn't for our air response, we wouldn't have really had a way to deal with that cleanly yet. Mainly just because none of us were on T3 production. I did end up getting a second Aphis up while this guy's actually making units and winning us the game off 1 and 2 fusions. So shout out to this guy for really knowing how to put on the pressure. We'd love to see it. And again to this guy for knowing how to hold. And to our air player who was atomic bombing the life out of them. So anyways, yeah guys, that'll be the game for today, and I just wanted to go through and show it off. So thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed, and all that good stuff, and later.